Here's my list of under-the-radar anime for spring of 2025. As always, every show on here has less than 100,000 views on Mall as of the time of recording. A Ninja and an Assassin Under One Roof. This title doesn't exactly roll off the tongue, and it doesn't tell you much about why the show is enjoyable. Imagine if Cowboy Bebop was just titled Sometimes There's a Dog, for example, although I can't deny that it does feature a ninja and an assassin under one roof. This is my favorite comedy of the season. The whole premise of the show is that it basically takes bucket loads of cute anime ninjas and feeds them into a wood chipper. That wood chipper's name is Konoha Koga, the assassin in the title who's unreasonably good at her job. Every ninja anime girl enters the scene with a big introduction, determined to give off as much final boss energy as possible, and every one of them gets taken out with one nonchalant hit from Konoha's knife. Except for maybe a couple that I won't spoil. Konoha is frustrated, however, because her assassin ranking remains pretty mid despite her elite killing skills, because she's no good at cleaning up after her hits. That's where Satoko the ninja comes into play. She has the unusual skill of being able to turn anything into leaves, including the bodies of Konoha's victims. And since Konoha is a cold and calculating type who thinks nothing of using others for her personal gain, and since Satoko is kind of an idiot, they form this codependent pair where Konoha barely tolerates Satoko's existence, while Satoko practically wags her tail with excitement whenever she can be of use to Konoha. Not every episode in this anime hits, and the show can be surprisingly dark at times, which clashes pretty jarringly with the cute moe designs of the characters. That's kind of the point of the show, but be prepared for that cute exterior to hide some pretty gruesome details. But I love the fun character designs and meeting our next overconfident ninja girl, even if I know that their shelf life is probably about a minute and a half. It's not going to appeal to everyone's sense of humor, but if you think you might get a laugh out of watching a show that parodies moe anime girls by making them disposable dishes on a sushi conveyor belt, then this is one that I've enjoyed so far. Mono. The undisputed champ of bad titles this spring has to go to Mono, the show about cute girls doing cute things, and also mononucleosis. Not only does the title remind me of an infectious disease, but I have no idea why it's called that in the first place. Anyway, Mono, or Mono if you want a less contagious sounding title, is about girls trying to keep a photography club alive, while also going on road trips with the mangaka who befriends the group and sends them on travel errands so she can have content for her artwork. I say that, but it's really about An flying a kite. Once I figured out that An was the true star of the show, instead of the pleasant but bland Satsuki, who's the protagonist, then I started to enjoy the show a lot more. That kite-flying energy is what I watch for. Most of the time, An will be along for the ride, supporting the other girls and doing her part with whatever activity they're doing. But every now and then, she'll just burst out with a gigaton of energy and rush headlong into whatever she's doing, whether that's stuffing herself at an eating contest or flying a kite. Episode 3 really takes the show to a new level, so stick around for that one if you find the first two at least mildly entertaining. In that episode, nearly the entire cast go on a road trip so that Haruno, the manga artist who acts as a mentor to the girls, can write up a story about manga tourism, where you go visit the actual locations where a manga takes place. I don't think they ever say the name of the manga that their trip is based on, but it's Laid Back Camp, which is like the godfather of cute girls doing cute things shows. If you've seen Laid Back Camp, not only will you recognize locations from that show, but the main girls from that anime will show up as Easter eggs you can find if you look closely. This writer is Rin-chan, for example, but I'll let you find the rest. Anyway, Mono is great. It's vaguely about photography, especially in its digital forms. I am not calling it Mono, and you should totally watch it. Apocalypse Hotel. The anime is about a group of robots who are trying to keep a hotel running, even as the potential human guests have to flee the planet to escape a virus. The head robot Yachio tries to keep everyone on schedule, even as the years roll by and no humans return. Of course, things don't stay that way forever, but the new guests might not be what the staff expected. From the show's description, I was worried that this would be a cheap knockoff of YKK, a well-respected manga that also has an android running a business as the human world comes to an end. I know that story from the 2-episode OVA, which I'd love to do a video on sometime, but Apocalypse Hotel is definitely its own thing. The anime lives or dies by its protagonist, Yachio. The other characters have a tough time keeping up, since it can be difficult to embody interesting parts of the human spirit when you're basically a vacuum cleaner or a dust mop. The family of guests who show up later are a welcome addition to the show, although Ponko is the only one who gets enough development to feel like a true main cast member. But Yachio's dedication to her mission in the face of continuous disappointment is admirable, and she gets pushed just often enough to the breaking point to give her some comedic unpredictability as well. There's also in one episode, how do I say this, a literal metric buttload of raccoon feces stuffed into the hallways of the hotel. Now that's not usually my type of humor, but there was just so much of it, even I was impressed eventually. And no, they're not raccoons, they're tanuki. Well, they're not tanuki, well, you have to watch the show to find out. If ninja and assassin is too dark for you, or you want a broader, more slapstick sense of humor in your comedy, then this might fit the bill. Food for the Soul. Food for the Soul is the latest entry in the cute girls doing cute things genre by Studio PA Works, who didn't invent that genre, but they definitely helped develop it with shows like Hanasaku Iroha and Shirabako. Food for the Soul is not as ambitious or as long as Sakura Quest or Aquatope on White Sands, but this is a reliably entertaining show that features a likable cast of slightly quirky girls who start a food research club in college. Mako is the viewpoint character, and her genuine interest in food culture helps drive the club's activities. Everyone else is basically there to hang around in a college-approved room while slacking off, but they're willing to support Mako in her cooking activities. My favorite character by far is Tsutsuji Higa, who for some reason has adopted Rams and energy drinks as her personal brand. She's so completely chill in every situation. I love that her solution to try to make two introverts feel more comfortable with each other is to start performing a dance that she made up because she has no clue what else to do. The show is not without its flaws. It struggles a bit with what it wants to be early on, similar to how it takes a while for the club members to figure out what their club is about. But I really enjoy the ED. My favorite part is when the girls are going all out at karaoke. I especially like how they're able to slip in a new addition to the cast pretty seamlessly into those visuals when the group goes from 4 to 5. Food for the Soul's ED is a nice way to cap off a very inviting and comforting show, so give it a watch if that's your thing. ZatsuTabi, That's Journey. This is a show about a 19-year-old girl who goes on journeys to random locations that are picked by her social media circle. It's based off of the real-life experiences of the manga creator who did this exact thing, and a lot of the locations and plot points are taken straight out of her real-life experiences. Tabi means journey, and Zatsu means rough or crude if you Google it, but something like sloppy or random would be a better fit in this case. The subtitle is a play on words. Native Japanese speakers will often substitute the Z sound for the TH when they're learning the language. If you were to take the English word that's and spell it how a Japanese learner would pronounce it, then you would get Zatsu. This means you can read ZatsuTabi as literally That's Journey, which is the subtitle of the show. The main character, Chika, is an aspiring manga creator who tries to get away from deadlines and rejection notices by heading out on sightseeing trips to boost her creativity and learn a little bit more about different places in Japan. ZatsuTabi can feel a lot like a Japanese travel show, which are really popular over there. There's a blend of national pride about regional products combined with learning about other places that seems to be particularly appealing within Japan's culture. So it could be that this show is designed to appeal to more of a Japanese audience, since there's not a lot more going on here other than visiting different locations. Even for people who like travel shows, ZatsuTabi can get pretty slow at times. I wouldn't want to binge watch the whole thing at once, for example. But as an occasional watch if I need something relaxing before bed, ZatsuTabi definitely has its place. Maybe skip it if you're not a hardcore slice of life fan, but if you do like that kind of show, then check this one out. Not for everyone, but maybe for you. There's one more anime that is my favorite for this season, but before that I wanted to list a couple of shows that might not be for everyone, but that maybe you'll like. And Shirley. If you're either a super fan of the Anne of Green Gables novels, or maybe you're just curious about them, then this is an anime you should probably be aware of. I haven't seen it personally, but I've heard nothing but good things about this adaptation. I saw the live-action adaptation on PBS way back when I was a kid, and that seemed like such a perfectly realized version of the story that I feel like I don't really need any others. But maybe this one's for you. Catch Me at the Ballpark. I think you have to be a baseball fan to enjoy this one. This is a series about people either going to baseball games or working at the stadium. Beer vendor girls, security staff, concession workers, and so forth. The main story is supposed to be about the overworked salaryman Murata and the likable Gyaru Ruriko, but the show is at its best when it just reminds you of that stadium environment, sitting in the ballpark and watching your favorite team play. It's not necessarily good, but it's okay. And if you're like me and you enjoy going to the ballpark, then it might be enough to hold your interest. Number 1. Rock is a Lady's Modesty. This is my favorite show of the season. Any show that flips you off in the intro and makes Maria Watches Over Us references is already starting out on the right foot for me. Just like that show, Rock is a Lady's Modesty takes place in a prestigious all-girls school for the upper class. The main character, Lilisa, comes from a more middle-class background, and she's trying to present the perfect image of a respectable rich girl to show her new stepfamily that she belongs. And at the beginning of the anime, she's doing great at this. Everyone views her as the perfect ideal of a proper young lady, until she meets Otoha, a girl from another rich and powerful family who appears to be even more of an ideal lady than Lilisa, until we find out what she can do on the drums. Otoha's skill and attitude both enrage and excite Lilisa, and the two girls start playing together in order to feed their inner rock demons. Of course, if you're using rock as the basis for a show's theme, then everything has to be turned up to 11, and that includes Lilisa's majestic hair scrapers. It's like she's carrying the St. Louis Arch on the top of her head as she walks around the campus. It looks like she could send a few freshmen flying into the duck pond if she turned her head the wrong way. But I think that hair is supposed to be real within the show's universe, which is fantastic. It's kind of a visual metaphor of Lilisa's rocker spirit that she thinks she's covering up, but is instead hiding in plain sight and cannot be contained. Her partner in the band, Otoha, does a better job of concealing her inner beast, unless she's drumming. The show is at its best when the two of them are either trading barbs or jamming like their lives depended on it. The supporting characters are fine so far, but they'll need some more development to become standout parts of the show. I do kind of love how they've handled the sibling rivalry between Lilisa and her younger stepsister, though. One thing to point out is that this is not Jack Black's School of Rock. That movie contrasts the atmosphere of an uptight school with a family-friendly sense of rebellion. With rock as a lady's modesty, rebellion is a need, and they're not going to hold anything back when it comes to self-expression. They still blur out the shining double deuces in the OP, and they'll occasionally censor a letter in some of the more aggressive subtitles, but this show has a much harder edge than Jack Black's friendly energy. If you're uncomfortable with profanity, sexual language, or music as sex metaphors, then look elsewhere for your girl band anime needs. But if you're down with all that, then this is a pretty great show. So what have you been watching during the great anime girl swarm of spring 2025? Let me know if I left something off the list that I should check out. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.